This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 24.
Somebody save me. Let your warm hands break right through. Somebody save me.
Hey everybody, I'm Brielle.
I'm Pete Ross.
We are sexy bitches, yeah.
Peter, that sound effect works even in our alter egos.
That's great.
All right, with us here we have Jamie D'Alessandro.
Hello.
And Shane Mulholland.
Hi, all.
Hi, El. Hi, all. If you haven't gathered from our introductory music and our silly nicknames, we're going to talk about the season finale of Smallville today. But we promise we will not give away any spoilers. But before we get into that, we have to remind everyone about our incredibly exciting contest that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
If you have not heard, perhaps this is the first time you've listened or you've been living under a rock for the last week, we're doing a very cool contest sponsored by discount comic book service, dcbservice.com.
We love them.
And their new website that's about to open on June 1st, instocktrades.com, where all trade paperbacks and hardcovers will be 35% off, free shipping if you order over $50. They are supplying us with some prizes that we will be giving out. And the contest is you have to create for us a 30-second show, what do you call it? Like a
Bumper,
Tagline.
tag, yeah.
You know,
Promo.
Promo. That's the word I'm looking for, Jimmy. Thank you. A 30-second promo, which we will try to hand off to Adam Curry and others in the podcasting world to get our show out there a little bit. But anyway, all the ones that we receive, Peter and Jamie and Shane and Kevin, and we'll all decide which one we like the most, and the winner gets the prizes. Pete, the prizes?
The prizes are over $100 worth of trade.
Woo, yeah.
Trades and hardcovers. We have the Essential Defenders, Volume 1. That's from Marvel. The Essentials are black and white, and basically a reprinting of the entire run. I guess it's probably about 25 issues, maybe 15 to 25 or something like that for that first Essential.
Oh my God.
It's, from what I just was looking at it the other day, it's some Doctor Strange issues, some Hulk issues, some not Silver Surfer, but some issues leading up to
the formation,
the
Defenders.
the Marvel premiere issues, and then I think the first 25 or so issues of the Defenders run.
It's a big book. It's like a phone book. And then we have the John Sable Freelance.
The complete John Sable Freelance.
John Sable Freelance trade, and that is by
IDW.
IDW, and who are the creators on that? That's
just Mike Grell.
Mike Grell, okay. And then we have the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes oversized hardcover, artwork by Scott Collins, basically a flushed-out retelling of their origin. And then we have the Superman Batman hardcover, the Supergirl story, with Mike Turner and the artwork on that. Jeff Loeb doing the art, doing the writing, bringing the Supergirl back to DC Universe. That's a hardcover. And finally, Ultimates Volume 1, oversized hardcover, Mark Miller and Brian Hitch. Incredible story, incredible package. And all those 5 trades, if that's what you want to call them, they're all yours. Over $100.
Yeah. Winner takes all. No
Winner
second
takes all.
place.
Nope.
That's
Winner takes
impressive.
all. It's very impressive.
So get cracking and build us your promos.
And the deadline?
June 1st.
June 1st.
You sure I can't enter?
No.
Yes, we're sure.
You can't enter. So,
all right.
Cool.
So that takes care of that.
Yep.
So the purpose for our show today is Smallville season finale. We're recording this Wednesday evening. We just got finished watching it. Mm-hmm. We were over at Kevin's place, Kevin's girlfriend's place, watching it. And the consensus is it was a damn good episode.
Yeah. For those of you who have been watching the rest of the season. I have not. I've missed a lot of the episodes.
You're not missing much.
Well, that's what I heard. It wasn't missing much, and I think they definitely knew to pump this one up.
I think the first half of the season was pretty good, and then we really went into a lull, and it was one of those deals where the bulk of the episode, like whatever the theme of the episode was, I couldn't care less. It was the 5 or 10 minutes of the ongoing storyline that they put in that made it worthwhile watching the episode. But it was kind of villain of the week again, kryptonite infected thing. It's like, come up with a new idea. When they would do that interspersed episode where it was all about the stones or all about whatever it was they were talking about, whatever the main season-wide theme was, those were good episodes. But the rest of them, you could just toss right out.
Jamie, do you remember when they were doing the X-Files, they had two names for an episode that furthered the plot?
One was the mythos, and then the other one was basically the monster of the week.
Monster, is that what they call it? Yeah. And that's kind of definitely what they use for
the mythos ones are much, much better.
Right. The season started out incredible.
Right, well, it was the leftover from the cliffhanger from last season.
Right. I enjoyed the first half completely, and then that lull over Christmas and into the beginning of spring, that was horrible then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting that they took this route, that they added this new kind of idea to the whole Superman story with the stones and the caves, especially the caves. That's been around for a couple seasons now. And I for one was always like, where are they going to go with this? How are they going to wrap this up? The whole thing with Lana, it just seems so sci-fi and so fantastical. It was like, first of all, how are they going to wrap it up? And is it going to make sense? And how is it going to add to the whole Superman story? Because it's so different than I think what we're used to. It really does add like this whole mystical kind of nature, which is kind of weird for a Superman story.
Well, I think they were just really looking for something to do with Lana.
Right.
And they decided to come up with this, the whole she was a witch at one time, and, they had Dr. Quinn Menace, a woman, come in, and she was, the evil woman and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I mean, everybody's down on the season. I liked the season. I really did. Like any other season, there were weak episodes and there were good episodes. But I thought, all in all, I've never not liked a season of this show. I've thought this show has been a strong show from the very beginning. I really have. They didn't have any real growing pains. Although, everybody was complaining about the monster, the kryptonite monster of the week. I still didn't mind it because I could see that there was something that they were building. Mm-hmm. They were building to, and they just needed to get their legs and see where they wanted to take it. And by the end of this episode, I'm jonesing for next year.
Already. And let me. Tasha and I both thoroughly enjoyed the show. For the whole season, in the second half, there were weak episodes, but again, once we almost forgot about it by the time we got to the bits and pieces that talked about the ongoing mythos. And there were so many times when we went, "Oh, look at that!" and those moments happened all throughout the season. So there was one episode it was 2 weeks ago. It was the one I've already completely forgot. I just watched it this morning, and I completely...
The guy, he was like de-age or aging or something.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
kid and Clark and Lana. They had got the kid, and they fell in love with him in like 24 hours. And like, oh my God, he's gonna. You're not attached to anybody after 24 hours like that. I mean, come on. That one just... I was like ready to fast forward the TiVo because I couldn't take it anymore. But other than that, I think that was actually the worst episode of the entire 4 seasons, and it just happened to be that I saw it the same day as the season finale. So,
right.
But this season finale sets up a whole lot of things for next season. A lot of things that have been long-standing Superman things that now we finally get to see. And some surprises that we're not sure what's going on. Mm-hmm. And there are some visual clues that tie to the movies that were really interesting that only a real fan would notice. And you go, what are they going to do with that? I don't know. Yeah. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I have to agree. I liked all the little subtleties that they threw into the episode. The only thing was so many darn commercials.
The episode was
They
an
know how
hour
to
and a
milk
half,
it.
which was really an hour and 15 minutes because the Batman thing was at the end.
Yeah.
And of the hour and 15 minutes, at least a half an hour of that was commercials. So it was really no longer than a normal episode. They just pumped it full of commercials to stretch it out a little bit.
Although they had a pretty cool, was it Converse? Was it for the Converse sneakers commercial?
Yeah, that
where they
was-
had the Flash in it.
Yeah.
The Flash logo, the title logo, popped up first, and we were all like, "What? How did they get away for using that?" And then at the end of the commercial, he shows up.
Well, and the whole commercial was blended into comic book panels, and it
Mm-hmm.
kept going from video to still shot that was drawn. And I don't know, maybe there's some basketball player who calls himself the Flash.
I guess.
I don't watch basketball, so I have no idea, but
But that was kind of cool.
they were keying off of that.
Yeah. One of the things that I liked in this whole season, and I know a lot of people don't like it because it really goes against a lot of the Superman mythos in the comic books, is the whole introduction of Lois Lane. I thought at the beginning, I think most of us thought, maybe even they thought, that she'd be around for an episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, and then we can quickly get away with cutting her out of the rest of the season. She's become so popular that I don't think they could afford to lose her.
Well, I think it's the dynamic between the two actors
Mm-hmm.
that she just brings. It sounded a little leery at first too. I was like, Lois Lane, why are they bringing her in? I thought I had seen a theory at the end of last season that maybe Chloe would actually become Lois Lane, since she had used Lois Lane as her byline
Right.
when she was working at the Planet, and there would never be a Lois Lane. But thankfully I was wrong, and what's her name?
Erica Durance.
Erica Duransky.
Durance.
Duransky, whatever. She's hot. Okay, she's hot. And it's just they brought a whole almost moonlighting type chemistry.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Maddie and David Addison type feel to it. And yeah, there was some forced dialogue here and there in this last episode, alluding to things, but all in all, I thought that just the dynamic between the two actors was great.
I think, especially him playing Clark, like I look at it as like from an actor standpoint. If you know the Superman story, you know that Clark and Lois are going to get together. I mean, that's just a given. So to play that, there was the one episode that ended at like a fair or something at the school, and
she smiled at him.
and she dunks him in the
Yeah.
water thing, and the grin on his face and her
Right.
face. I said that must be so refreshing as an actor. With Clark and Lana, you got to play the little guessing game. You got to play the back and forth. With them, it's almost like you know what their story is going to be, so you're so free to play up any kind of emotion that will help that. And that scene, like you said, they were just grinning at each other, and I went, see, now that's why it will always be Lois and Clark, because those characters, boom, connect. No matter what, they connect. And it was so great to see that. And in this finale, there was a moment like that, too. When,
Don't say
well, I'm not going to say, but it was a moment of some back and forth, not tension, but
Banter.
Banter and rivalry or whatever. And then, but no matter what, he just smiles, and it's like, damn it, that is the woman he is supposed to be with.
That episode you're talking about where she dunks him, doesn't Chloe stand behind and kind of
Yeah,
realize
yeah,
that and get
yeah.
real bitter for a
Oh,
second?
yeah.
And then they play that
You
song.
feel so bad
that,
for Chloe
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
Well, because Chloe's so much hotter than Lana, and it just drives me nuts.
You think?
Oh,
Yes.
There's no
Yeah.
contest there.
Oh.
Lana's just
I'm
a
so-
Lana's
Oh,
a high
I'm sorry.
main-
You're saying Lana. I thought you
Yeah.
meant Lois. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. That's
Lana's a
crazy
high
talk.
maintenance bitch, and Chloe would just be fun.
Chloe would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
See, now
But-
my prediction, and I said this while we were watching it, was I think they need to get rid of the Chloe character somehow. Because I think either they need to get rid of Chloe or they need to get rid of Lana.
they need to get rid of Lana because we all know that it's going nowhere.
Right.
Everyone knows that Clark ends up with Lois. So 4 years of them, we're in love.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, we're in love. Oh, no, we're not. Freaking kill her off already, and I'm sick of it. She can go off with Pete wherever he went, and they can hook up because I'm sick of it.
Yeah, what I'm surprised is that they gave Chloe they gave Chloe the secret of Clark. Well, sort of. I guess he's still trying to play it off, and not Lana. Like I thought, like maybe that's what they'll do next year. Maybe they will finally clue in Lana. Although at this point it kind of makes it kind of anticlimactic because Chloe knows.
Yeah, but that might happen early on in the season, then Lana just leaves, and that's how if he does indeed go off to Metropolis U and does the whole city thing now with Lois at college, Lana is really inconsequential right now. She can just find out, be hurt, and go sulk somewhere.
Yeah, I think with the introduction of Lois, it really made Lana just kind of pointless, and it's I wish they would have either gotten rid of her, and they certainly created this whole plot line with her this season that to me felt a little forced. And for my taste, Chloe's character is kind of, it always was the Lois Lane, like you said earlier, Jamie. It kind of seemed like the Lois Lane type, and then now that we have Lois Lane, it's like, I don't know, it just seems too much. I hope they maybe they won't have Lois at all next year.
Yeah, well, I hope not. That I hope not. But I really thought that that's what they were going to do with Chloe when, at the end of last year, they sent her off to France. I figured, okay, Lana, yeah. They sent Lana off to France. I thought, okay, now they've gotten rid of her. She's out. This season, it'll be Chloe and Clark, and I heard they're going to bring Lois in, and okay, let's send around these people. Maybe every once in a while, shot over to France, or she calls home, or she stops back home, or something like that. But cut her part down, expand others, and just get rid of her, because I thought they had run the course with Lana. They'd done everything they could really do with her, and they still refuse to let them either let Clark finally frickin' tell her, or just push her away and let her go away. And they decided to push her away, let her go away. I thought great, but then this year with the whole, she's a witch. I thought, what the hell am I watching? Charmed? I don't want to watch Charmed. I choose not to watch that. I don't want to watch
Alyssa Milano.
No, she's not the yummy.
I like the other
show.
one actually.
The one
the
that
one
used to
that
be on
was
picket fences. Oh, jeez.
Is it Rose McGowan?
Yeah, Rose McGowan.
Rose
that's
McGowan's
what I
in
like.
it now,
That's what I
but the
like.
one that used to be on picket
Yeah,
fences.
except that she went out with what's his face, the singer.
That's okay, Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson.
That's all
Was
right.
that Holly Combs? Holly?
It's the other one.
Yeah. It's not Alyssa. It's not Rose.
It's not
McGowan.
Alyssa Milano. It's not Rose McGowan. It's not Shannon Doherty. It's the other one.
We totally got on a tangent.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just thinking about Tasha. I made a comment today during the commercial for when we were watching Smallville, the previous episode, and I said, Alyssa Milano. She says, what is it, because she was on Growing Pains? I mean, not Growing Pains. Who's the Boss? I said, well, that, and we're like the same age, so when I was growing up and if I was 13, she was 13 on that show, so that made a little difference. But then about 5 years ago, or 6 or 7 years ago, she had a spread in Maxim, and I think it was right before Charmed, and that was like the first time I had really seen her since the Who's the Boss days. I was like, and suddenly she was on my radar. Yeah.
Boing.
So if you ever see that Maxim, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Showing.
Yeah. All right, so now get back to Smallville.
Yeah, screw Smallville.
Now here's something that I think would be interesting in the comics if they were to introduce Chloe into the comics. Maybe not as like a childhood friend, because we certainly have enough of those popping up all the time. But what it would create is... What's that?
Hush.
What it would create, though, is what we haven't had in a Superman comic for a long time. We haven't had anybody trying to figure out the whole Clark-Superman dynamic. Lois certainly doesn't need to do that anymore. Lana can't do that because she knows. So I think bringing in Chloe as a reporter or whatever, or for like a rival newspaper, I thought that would be interesting, because then maybe she, especially since she's on the outside, she could look and say, what's this? Wait, nobody can tell Clark and Superman are the same person here? Come on, what's going on? Like maybe not that extreme, but if they were to bring her into the comic books, that would be kind of how I would want to see her come in. I think that would be kind of interesting. So one reason why I'm waiting for the Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely All-Star Superman, which is now delayed later in the year, but it's because they're bringing back that Lois. In the story, Lois won't know who Superman is. So I thought that I kind of miss that. Kind of miss that aspect about him.
I don't read Superman, so I don't know.
No.
Never have. Never, ever.
Never, ever. Wow.
First time I ever read Superman in a comic was when I started reading the JLA. He never appealed to me as a kid. He seemed too, black and white. I protect America.
You might like the Jeff
no,
Loeb run.
no, I'm reading the Superman Batman books.
Right. But I mean, I meant when Jeff Loeb took over Superman. Yeah.
No, now I've discovered that he's actually a pretty dynamic character, and I kind of like him. But as a teenager, I thought he was about the least exciting superhero on the entire shelf.
I'd have to agree with you. As growing up, of course, my favorite was Batman, but I read just about any DC book over Superman for the longest time, and just in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've gotten into finding out more about Superman, reading some of the current stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise. Well, this Superman-Batman series has really opened my eyes to how he's pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you read Superman Birthright?
No. Was that the the Lionel Francis Yu drawn one?
Mark Waid.
Yeah, no, I didn't read that. It looks cool, though.
Yeah, it's worth a read. There's something about...
Lionel F.U.
Yeah. There's something about Superman stories when they're done very well, like the Jeff Loeb For All Seasons, that I think I don't know, is it because he's the first? It really does. When they try to do human stories or touching stories that are really kind of personal, it works. It sometimes works more than any other character. And I think it's just because he's such the iconic character.
I think it's the same partially the same for Captain America, because again, as a kid, even though I was a Marvel zombie, I didn't like Captain America. He was too boring. It was like, I saved the day. I stand for everything that's good and holy. I'm great. Look up to me. I'm the man. So it never, ever appealed to me. I don't know why. I guess I liked sinister things more as a kid even. But, but now, with reading more Avengers and stuff, I'm starting to dig Cap a little bit. I can handle him. That's the same thing with Superman. So since Cap is Marvel Superman or whatever, so.
Definitely. Do you want to talk about the Batman preview we saw? We just quick talk about that for a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, they played a 10-minute, not a 10-minute straight clip. It was like an extended preview. Personally, I'm excited. I liked it. I liked everything that I saw.
Yeah, I'm totally excited for it, even more so than I was. Every time a new Batman movie's announced, you kind of cringe and go, I hope they do it right. But everything I've seen and read about this one, I'm totally stoked for it.
Well, there's so many things. I mean, Christopher Nolan is an awesome director.
Right.
And
if you've never seen Memento, you need to do yourself a favor.
You got to rent that immediately. And now, why did I just totally blank on his name?
Who?
The Batman.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. I mean, I have loved him since when
I
was about
Empire
of the Sun. When I was like, I was like 11 or 12 when that movie came out, or when I saw it on HBO, and Christian Bale was playing like a 12 or 13-year-old kid. So again, it was one of those things where I really liked the character. Mm-hmm. Plus, it was a great movie. And
that's one of Steven Spielberg's most underrated movies.
Oh, absolutely!
John Malkovich.
And John Malkovich is in it, and so is Ben Stiller is in it.
Oh, that's right.
And Pantaleone's in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good people in that movie, and I never realized it when, of course I didn't know who any of those people were when I was 12. But of course Swing Kids he was in, which is another one of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah. I absolutely love that film. And in American Psycho, he proved that he can act when he did that movie. That was awesome.
I've never seen that one.
Oh my God! You talk about that's right up there with as far as importance, as far as Memento. If you want to see what Christian Bale is capable of. Plus, it's peppered with fantastic '80s music because it's set in the '80s, and he's an '80s music aficionado in the movie.
I'm gonna have to see that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so I really think that the guy can pull his weight, and
it certainly seems like this is an acting Batman movie.
Yeah,
they're gonna do the action, but they're definitely gonna build up to a certain point, so you really get an idea, which is something you didn't get out of the Tim Burton Batman. Not fully, you got bits and pieces, but that wasn't the point of that movie.
And this one just looks darker. Even the Tim Burton movies had that quirky Tim Burton kind of clowny kind of effect to them, while they were dark and sinister at the same time. This one looks like there's no playing around. It just looks like it's all nasty Batman stuff.
Right.
It looks much more realistic city than Gothic drawn medieval type dark city.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was definitely a I don't want to say a gloss, but in the Tim Burton Batman movies, there definitely was that unrealistic quality to it, where
Which,
they're not.
in ways, I really kind of liked because it was like a comic book.
Right, exactly.
And so he did. I mean, I love those first two Batman movies. I think they're wonderful. I don't ever take away from them. But I'm intrigued to see this new version. And, year one is pretty dark.
Yeah.
And so this is pretty dark as well. And the whole getting to see his training and stuff is cool.
Yeah. 2 words. No nipples. No nipples on the Batsuit, thank God. But watching it, I had to agree with one of Kevin's. Kevin had a bit of a problem. It looked like he used. Looks like a lot of bats. Looks like he's controlling the bats. And as long as they don't use it a lot, I think it's a neat effect, and it'll be
maybe
neat
that was
to
just
see
like that one scene
how they use it. But man, I'll tell you, I got chills towards the end of that when it was just like the music. It's Hans Zimmer, who I love his music, and it was just like the quick cuts and showing action and him flying around and fighting, just everything all together. I mean, they had a nice little scene with you saw Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon, who I'm dying
awesome.
to see. He's one of my favorite actors. And
he actually looks like Jim Gordon.
Yeah, that's the whole
the
thing.
books,
I mean, he looks like right out of Frank Miller's Year One.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed a little scene with Scarecrow, who looked really good. Looked really kind of creepy. And
Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox.
And Ra's al Ghul, Ken Watanabe.
Yeah.
As Ra's al Ghul.
Hey, are they using the Danny Elfman theme for the opening of the movie? I thought I read that they were going to use that.
I don't know. I haven't read.
I'd be
anything about.
extremely disappointed if they don't, because to me, that's the same as the Superman music.
Mm-hmm.
That opening sequence. You don't need the whole movie to be scored by that, but that.
It's just a definitive.
Yeah, that's to
sound
me now. That's Batman, because we've had it 4 times now,
right?
And it's so good. I don't think you should throw that out, but.
I'm kind of hoping with I agree with you and Kevin on the bat thing. I'm hoping that's just some kind of sonic thing that he throws, and then they just follow it, not that he controls them per se.
And probably that's just a one-time. That's probably like the grand finale fight, and they just showed us that clip, and he only uses it that one time, and that's.
But there's always that in the back of your head. It's going to be all through the movie.
Now, what did you think of? Maybe I'm just making more of it than it is. What did you think of the one scene where he was speaking to Katie Holmes? What did you think of his speaking voice as Batman?
They definitely put a little filter on that, didn't
they?
Yeah.
I thought it would be a little bit, I don't know, deeper, grittier. Like, I'm so used to the animated series where that seems to be a very, very bellowing, distinctive voice. And it just didn't quite get there, but it's all right.
He also has. I don't think.
It's
I don't
not
know
a
if
lisp.
It's not a lisp,
Yeah.
but there's something to his voice himself.
Oh, he has a very distinct timbre. What's the word? Timbre to his voice.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've noticed it when he does. He's a British actor,
Right.
so his natural. So when he does the American accent, I've noticed in other films that he's done an American accent. I mean, I actually just watched a film I forgot he was in. I was watching on TNT over the weekend. I had forgotten he was the bad guy in Shaft. The Samuel L. Jackson Shaft.
Oh, yeah.
I had totally forgotten he was in that. And I started watching it, and every time I've seen him do that American accent, he kind of has he's doing the American accent. It's almost like Humphrey Bogart, sweetheart doing this, and he's talking like this when he's doing his American accent. And I kind of noticed that when he was doing that, so it doesn't bother me. It's Batman should. I almost thought you could almost see too much of his face, which you have to see. I mean, you're never going to get the perfect cowl. You're never going to get the perfect suit, but it almost looked like if I look at your face and if I see Bruce Wayne, I'm not a dummy. I'm going to pretty much put 2 and 2 together, and you never know, that may be what they're going for. The fact that Gordon will figure it out already. And I always thought Gordon knew all along.
Of course, it is year one. I mean, he changed his costume later on. Got a longer face mask.
No. Oh, I thought you meant like some neon thing coming out or some new like ice costume that you're killing me with all that.
No. I'm just
Well,
saying,
here's hoping they don't.
He just adjusted it by an inch.
They don't do the whole thing that they did in every Batman movie originally. Was every girlfriend found out who he was? It's like, oh God, I hope they don't do that.
But now, in the beginning of that trailer, they have the funeral scene where he's waving at a little girl. That's Katie Holmes' character, I think, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, they're childhood friends.
Yeah, that's what
which
I
is
thought.
why I don't buy Katie Holmes, because I think she looks too young
Yeah.
against Christian Bale. I really do. I guess I have to see it. You
Yeah,
know.
but I'm 31 and I look like I'm 15.
Right. But she really comes across. You know, you just. How do you take somebody who's in Dawson's Creek, you know, and then stick them in a Batman movie, and she needs to be an adult, like a young adult, you know, or a middle adult? I don't know. It just,
I guess I've seen her now in enough movies where she plays like a dirty like girl that it doesn't.
I mean, to work for Elizabeth Berkley, that's all I have to tell you. So,
Yeah.
you know, Showgirls. That you know,
Yeah, that's
if it
convincing.
go from Saved by the Bell to Showgirls,
that's different.
I can take her. Since I never watched Dawson's Creek, I wasn't
And
a girl.
it worked for the guy too who went to NYPD Blue. He's on that same stupid show.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a second in NYPD Blue I didn't believe he was who he was. You know.
little Ricky Schroeder.
Yeah,
Sometimes
same
I
thing.
think they go for the easy actress. You know, like,
Well,
where can we bring in?
They
the-
could have,
you know.
and she doesn't look like in the comics
Right.
because she's Talia, right?
No.
no.
No. She's not Rachel Gould. No. She's just
Oh,
a childhood
okay.
friend. No.
I'm sorry, I was.
No.
So I had.
Yeah, it's a new character. What's the Liam Neeson? What's his character's name?
I don't
Qui-Gon.
recall- Yeah,
Yeah.
Qui-Gon. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Fine.
I don't think he was specifically named in
Well,
the comics.
In the comics, there is a guy like John LeQuart or something like that.
it
Like
could be.
there's-
I don't.
like
I didn't
his
catch
mask.
his
John
name.
Le
in the
Carre,
movie.
he writes spy novels.
Yeah. No, not Jean-Luc Picard. No, but they do. There is a character in the Batman mythos right now. It's like something. I don't know. Locutus. I don't know what it is. But if that's that character, that's kind of cool if they keep that the same.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like the gauntlets. I like how you get a feel with this Batman. You get a real feel of what he's gone through to get to this point, and he uses. I mean, you got it with the first Michael Keaton Batman, where he had that room with all the armor suits and stuff. But this one, really more so than I think any other, really directly affects the suit that he puts on and the things he's done. It seems much more stealthily, much more ninja-like. He doesn't want to be seen. He doesn't want you to know he's there, and you won't unless he wants you to know he's there. Whereas Michael Keaton's, while I love them too and wouldn't take away from them, they just didn't have quite that stealthy ninja quality to them, I don't think.
See now, and here you brought up something that I've been reading. I talked to you a little bit about this. There are some people who post on some message boards where they're like, oh, it's Batman. Oh, all of a sudden he's a psycho ninja. Like they're always bringing up the psycho ninja loner character. And the funny thing is they always blame actually Year One basically for that and Dark Knight Returns. And it's like, well, you do realize that this has been going on 20 years, people, that he's been this way. 20 years of being affected by Dark Knight.
and gritty. Yeah.
Now, subtract 20 years from 86, you get 1966. What the heck was going on in Batman in 1966? You got Batman going to space, you got giant pennies and umbrellas,
you got pink
big,
and purple costumes.
yeah, and it's like the whirly bat and all this. It's like, when they say we want Batman shouldn't be that way because he's never been like that. Well, I'm sorry.
And then subtract another 20 years from 66.
Yeah.
Go to 46 or go to 39 where I'm reading now, and he's killing people in every episode.
Right,
in
yeah.
every issue of Detective,
Right.
he freaking kills somebody. So then, are they going to say that's not what Batman,
Right.
if he kills somebody? No,
So
that's
it's-
what Batman was.
Exactly. Like they always say, we should bring it back to the way he was. Well, where? Where do you start that?
Right.
Where do you can't even, like?
Well, if he would marry Julie, everything would be different.
Yeah.
like they mentioned the Marshall Rogers or the Neil Adams.
Yeah,
Batman.
the interim where he was really the detective
Right.
more than anything else.
Right.
But that was such a short time. It's great, and
It
I
was
love
a
it,
short
but
time.
it's such a short time.
Because he didn't. I don't think he really became a superhero until just before, I think, like Batman and the Outside, like late 70s, early 80s. I think that's when he became a superhero, especially under Mike W. Barr. He's throwing crap out of his utility belt all over the place, and he's
Where it really starts to not pre-think, but really take into consideration all contingencies
right
to prepare
right.
for them.
And then you had Dark Knight Returns, and you know what? I'm sorry, but if that's what they want to take their Batman off of, it's been 20 years, people. You're not going to get the. You're not going to
Campy-
get the camp. You don't. I don't want the campy Batman. Maybe the superhero Batman is kind of okay. When they brought in Dr. Midnight at the JSA, I went, my God, this is like reading Batman in the early 80s because he's pulling crap out of his belt, out of his wrist gauntlets, and he's very calm and collecting, knows what to do all the time. I was like, wow, look, there's that Batman. But that doesn't make me want Batman to go back to that again.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with the dark and gritty
Yeah.
Batman. And you know, in Batman comics, he seems to, most of the time, at some point, he hurts everybody around him, and yet they still are loyal to him just because of what they have all done together.
Right.
But he is a loner. He is going to self-impose his own exile because no matter how much he relies on these people, at some point something's going to happen where he's going to think, I don't need anybody, and I don't want to put anybody in harm's way. It's just me and my crusade. And it's still dark and gritty. He's still upset, not guilt-ridden, more just determined and angry that he still can't make that much headway. As much good as he does, it's still not enough.
Right.
And he will always be that way. And if they change it back to a campy, goofy thing, I think the whole franchise would die off now.
Yeah, you couldn't even do it.
No.
The fans wouldn't go for it.
You could have him become the mentor or something. I thought that would have been great for his back being broken. Leave his back broken. Our friend Alex came up with this idea a long time ago. Leave his back broken for a year or two, let other people do it, and have it drive him crazy that he cannot do what he wants to do, and eventually have him go to Ra's al Ghul and say, hey, you know what? I need to get in that pit because I got to get back. And then that would not only turn him to an edge that he didn't want to turn before, but that's just how much he wants his crusade to continue as he does it. It would also put him indebted to Ra's al Ghul and have something hanging over his head that he doesn't want. But yet he still had to do it because things got so bad that he couldn't stand it anymore.
Right. I definitely think you get in the Superman Batman, you get a superhero Batman. I think the way Jeff Loeb writes him, he's not the obsessed, crazy, Batman.
But the way he does those thought balloons where they're thinking about each other, and he is dark and alone.
Oh yeah,
and
he definitely
that comes
doesn't trust
across
anybody,
very clearly, and I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Superman Batman, watching this trailer for Superman 5 minutes after seeing the trailer for Batman 5 minutes after seeing a Superman show, it just makes you go, Warner Brothers, hello, world's finest movie. I mean, come on now, you want a blockbuster? Because I think that with this Batman movie, we're excited to see it, but the general public, I don't get a vibe out there that people are clamoring to go see the new Batman movie.
If it's going to happen, it's going to be an afterthought. Like everyone will see it and go, "Oh, this really is good." They have too much tainted taste in their mouth.
And there's
from the
too
last
much
ones.
Star Wars, and there's too much everything else. No one's thinking about Batman.
Everybody's thinking about the disaster that was Catwoman.
Yeah, and maybe people will be excited for Superman because I think they're going to really publicize that a whole lot, whereas they're not with the Batman movie. But I think if 2 years from now we had a Superman Batman movie, now that is a blockbuster waiting to happen.
There's a fan film where there is it's a Superman Batman fan film. I don't know what it's called. I think it's World's Finest, something like that. They use the same Batman that they used from Dead End, and it's pretty incredible. It's pretty good. So if you check that out, or maybe I'll try to find it and post it somewhere. But that's pretty good. So definitely, I think we're all gearing up. We all are going to anxiously await the new season of Smallville. Yes.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah, they're kicked my ass with that because it won't air till November.
Yeah.
Because WB always does that. It used to be that TV shows started like in the very beginning of September. Then they got pushed back to late September. Now half the shows start middle of October, and then these late ones start November.
WB is usually good about that. It's the Fox shows, since they run the World Series and the National League and American League championships. That the Fox
Stupid
always
sports.
starts in November. That's always killed me about X-Files and Simpsons. Were always they run their Halloween special 2 weeks after Halloween because for whatever reason they can't show it on Halloween. But WB is, if I remember last year, that was one of the first shows I thought that actually
Really?
that actually
I
aired.
don't recall that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in September.
Was it last season that they had that multiple cliffhangers? Where
last
like,
season was where he shows up naked in the middle of the field.
Is that
where
when like
Lois
Chloe's
finds
house
him.
blows up
Mhm.
and it's like,
Because that's why Lois is coming to Smallville
that's
to
right,
find out what
that's
happened
right.
to her.
That was a great cliffhanger, and I think
Yeah.
this one is just
This one's
Whew.
better. This one's better.
Amazing. How many times did we go? Oh, because they stopped showing
4
a certain
times, I
scene,
think.
Yeah, and it was like now we're gonna wait half the summer, or all summer for it.
Do you ever think that delay in Fox shows started when they had that writer's strike that one year, and X-Files got really delayed from that, baseball and everything aside, and then ever since then X-Files was late, and then other things started being late. I just seem
It drives me nuts because I get so excited when the end of August comes. I'm like, oh, new TV shows, and then it's the third week in September till I get the Entertainment Weekly fall TV preview. I'm like, wait a minute, the shows should have already started by now. And then I find out that everything's starting in October. It's like, oh my god.
Well, I'm kind of surprised seeing the TV, seeing the newspaper for the last couple of days they're already showing their lineups.
Yeah.
Normally that's usually June, July before they start showing their new lineups, and I guess NBC and ABC for the last 2 days have put out their new lineups.
Yeah, and they're canceling shows like crazy. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're moving some shows because it's some shows now aren't going to be against one another. I mean, for me, Lost is now going to be at 9 o'clock, where it was up against Smallville, and I had to choose which one I was going to watch and which one I was going to tape. TiVo. I did not need TiVo. I got tape.
Tape.
Two
Tape. What?
Well,
I'm gonna.
got 2 TVs.
I got 2 TVs, 2 VCRs.
I'm gonna.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm taking all your DVDs and replacing them with VHS tape.
Fine.
Tape. Luddite.
He gets the big TV, but he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, come on. What's another $100 after that?
Are you going to give me the $100? That's fine with me.
Pony it up, big boy, and what? You're Mr. TV man, and you don't have a TiVo. If there was anyone who's a prime candidate for TiVo,
Somebody wants to give me a TiVo, I'm fine.
all right, listeners, PayPal Jamie. He needs $100 for TiVo. Cheap bastard.
something else about Batman. You think it's overshadowing Fantastic Four at all?
No, because I think once Star Wars is over and Batman is over, then Marvel's going to pull out all the advertising stops, and they're just going to go hog wild for that.
I personally think Batman's going to be the better overall movie, but I think Fantastic Four is going to appeal to the more
Family
popcorn.
absolutely.
Well,
I mean, from what I heard tonight, what we were hearing was that's the big preview that's going to be in front of Revenge of the Sith. Is going to be a new big
Fantastic
FF
Four, yeah.
preview. And when I was picking up my tickets for tomorrow night's show over at our local theater, or at least the theater I'm going to, they had in the lobby, they had a huge cutout. No, it wasn't the four. It was a picture of each of the Fantastic Four, and then the thing on the bottom said Fantastic Four.
Hey, did you see they cast Kelsey Grammer as Beast?
Yes.
For X3?
For X-Men 3, yeah. And he's going to be the Blue Beast.
Yeah, the blue hairy Beast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually,
I
they
can
showed
see
a
it.
picture. They showed a photo of Kelsey Grammer right next to a drawing of Beast from I don't know.
looked like a
what, it was a
trading card
painting.
thing
Yeah,
or-
it might have
yeah.
been a trading card or something. Let me tell you, it looks the spitting image.
Yeah.
And I was reading. It was on Newsarama, so they have all the posts. And most people were like, "Oh, I think he's the perfect casting." And I was thinking to myself, "Boy, that's probably the last person I would have thought of
Especially
off
for
the
a
top
big
of my
budget
head."
movie like that, yeah.
But I mean, I guess he can act all right, and he can certainly play the intelligent, spewing off big words, sounding all scientific guy, because that's what he did on that
Cheers and
show.
Frasier, yeah.
The only problem now, is they're going to have to go back and pull George Lucas, and they're going to have to put him in that scene where you see Hank McCoy on TV screen talking to somebody else.
Well, yeah.
They'll have to pull
but they have
George Lucas.
They have 2 different pyros and 2 different
Well, and they were
kitties
talking about who they're going to cast for Kitty Pryde. I'm
Right,
like,
they already
she's
have
already in.
one.
I'm like, what
I
do you mean
know.
who you're going to cast? That girl's she'll probably work for $500. She's not in any movies. Get her. In that way we have continuity.
Yeah.
Damn it.
If they replace Pyro, that's really gonna that's gonna
Well,
be
yeah,
annoying.
you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's bastards. They drive me nuts. It's we have to decide who to cast. You already did. You should have thought of that ahead of time, jackasses.
So, to go back to Smallville, do you think you can we go around and like give like what you think without spoiling anything that we saw? Do you think you can give a prediction for next season of anything?
How are we going to do that without spoiling it?
Easily.
No, because
I can't say anything.
we
Do you think
say
we're going to see
something-
Superman? Do you think we're going to see Superman next season?
I don't
No,
think so.
I think
but
we'll see Superman whenever the last season is. Because they don't know if next season is
mean the
going to be the
last-
last.
I thought they did say it was the last season.
Did they? For real?
I
No,
don't-
they
I
haven't
thought it
made
was
a...
speculative.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I read somewhere that was definitely the
They'll
last one. Oh, okay.
they're going to go
They'll
and
milk that.
they'll go halfway through the season before they decide if they're going to pull everybody in for another one or whatever.
I think they'll even
it
wait
should
till
be
after the
last.
movie comes out, because why wouldn't you milk more Superman lore after the movie's out?
I kind of hope next season is the last season. I don't think we can go
Oh, I don't
longer
disagree
than-
with you.
I don't think we can go longer than
So-
another season.
If it's the last season, yes, we'll see Superman. If it's not, no, we won't. That'll be the final scene of the final episode.
Do you think it'll be that late?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even necessarily think we'll see Superman. I think we'll see the suit. I
Right.
don't know that we'll
yeah,
see
like
him
we were
in it.
saying, he might be holding it or something.
Right.
I'd personally like to see him fly off. I know they said that he wouldn't fly, but in the last 30 seconds, we can see him fly.
Yeah, that's the way I would end it too.
He puts a suit on and he flies off into the
I
sunset
always,
or whatever. Yeah.
I always felt that what they could do is they could really just like kind of morph right into that scene in the first Superman movie where the father dies, and you know he talks to Ma Kent and he's standing in the cornfield and he has to leave. You know what I mean? Like I always felt that they could easily go into that if they really wanted to, and just film it the same way. Like you'd have to kind of change him being the football water boy, you know, or whatever, but. You know, just take that whole entire scene that was back in the old Superman movie, and you know, because they already have the whole heart attack thing happening with Pa Kent anyway. Have him running up to the barn, Pa Kent dies, Ma's there. You know, maybe they're a little bit younger than they were in the movie, but I really thought you could kind of steer that whole thing into there. I think that'd be really neat, because then it would definitely lend itself to the current.
I think
movies.
he'll fly off to Scores.
But even
If Erica Durance was there.
depends how they do the new movies. Is Mom Pa Kent in the new movies? Because current continuity, he's
Yes, she is. Ma Kent is
Ma
in
Kent
it.
is
Yeah,
in-
because it's what's her name? Eva Marie Saint is playing her. The she's been in a lot of movies. I can't think of them right now. She was in that Tom Hanks movie with Jackie Gleason where Tom Hanks is
yeah.
Nothing in Common. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays Tom
All
Hanks'
right.
mother.
Because I'm thinking, yeah, they're gonna revolve around the movie a little bit because it's coming out, but really Smallville has its own continuity, and just like current continuity, Pa Kent's still alive now, so it wouldn't hurt anything for him to still be alive at the end of the movie. I mean, at the end of the series.
Yeah.
You can't kill a Duke boy, so he ain't dying.
Yeehaw!
Bo Duke. He has some great scenes in there too. I thought they both did. It's kind of fun watching them be younger and doing what they did. And great special effects in this episode, I thought too.
Yeah,
I thought
absolutely.
they really pulled out all the stops. Cool.
All right.
I want to throw one thing in there for toy fans of Palisades. It was just announced on their boards, and a couple toy sites have picked it up that sadly Ken Lilly is leaving Palisades to go do something else. He's going to relocate his family in about a year and go on some new adventure that hasn't really been talked about yet.
Who's he?
He is or was the vice president of development for Palisades, I believe. He was kind of the guy that put all the lines together and made everything, made the choices for everything, what characters go in what. After discussing it with all the teams and stuff, he still had the final say on a lot of things. And, you know, for fans of the Muppet figures and Palisades in general, he was on the boards constantly, getting feedback, giving feedback, asking questions, listening to fans. I mean, he really had a hands-on approach to everything. The person that's going to replace his position is a very lovely woman named Kim Madison, who I met a couple times, and she's fantastic. She's been heading up their Factory X division, which is prop replicas, and I think she had a hand in, I want to say the Mini-Mate type, the PALs, they're called, P-A-L-Z. And everything she's done is spectacular, too, and she's kind of been tutored under Ken, by Ken as a mentor. So I'm kind of excited. Sad to see Ken go, but excited to see what Kim can do with the company and the lines that come out from there. So good luck to Ken and good luck to Kim as they pursue their new careers.
And we should say a fond farewell to Frank Gorshin, Riddler of the Batman.
I hadn't heard about this until we sat down, and it really hit me. I mean, that's that Batman I grew up on. I loved that Batman, and you know, the world's a sadder place. I mean, Frank Gorshin was a super talent. If you didn't know, you only knew him as the Riddler. You only knew about half of his career. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was a master imitator. He built his career around doing John Wayne and all that kind of stuff. And I'd seen him on some of the variety shows he did, like Ed Sullivan and stuff like that. And to me, just to think, the Riddler's gone, Joker's gone, Penguin's gone. Mm-hmm. They're gone to that great
Batcave
in the sky.
sky.
We all had the
Arkham
same
Asylum in the sky.
Slanted villainous hideout in the sky.
Yeah.
I loved when TV Land brought the Batman show on to TV Land. They had little promos with Adam West and Frank Gorshin going around a museum of Bat stuff, and I loved them that they had. Adam West always does, but to see Frank Gorshin have such respect for what he did as the Riddler to come back and do those little promos was just fantastic to see. It was fun.
So long, funny man.
All right, hey, before we go, we got one fan email that I really enjoyed, so I wanted to read it to you. It's from Andrew Watts. He starts out, howdy doody. Top pod. Listened to the last 4 shows and enjoyed mucho. Living in Jakarta, Indonesia at the moment, so it's difficult to keep up with latest comics. Have a very friendly comic book shop back home in Swansea, Wales, that keep all of my subscriptions and I pick up once a year. Big fucking bag.
Oh my God, 1 year.
1 year's worth of comics. Woo! I have my own music podcast. It's dareverend.libsyn.com. That's DAREVEREND.libsyn.com. And have given a big shout to you all twice, and have put a link in my blog. If you get the scratch, pimp me too. If not, no bother, as I will stay tuned. Peace. Well, thank you, Andrew, and
Cool.
I'm glad we're your top pod.
Yeah. Awesome.
I just like the language there. It's fun.
It's a very cool. I guess I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, we'll put a link on our blog
Sure.
when we do the show notes for this one.
I love seeing all the round-the-world people we're now getting.
Yeah,
listening to the show.
Indonesia.
Fantastic.
We are taking over the world.
We're gonna have to do a road trip. Plane trip.
I swear to God, I got chills the first time I heard somebody say, "Yeah, I'm listening to this over in England." I'm like, "Oh my God, my voice has traveled to England."
Hey, and that actually, I have a request. If you're living somewhere other than the United States, send me a postcard, if you will. I have a postcard collection and a stamp collection, so I get 2 in 1. You put a stamp on a postcard, and it's really awesome for me. My snail mail address is on the blog, comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com. So if you're out and about and you pick up a postcard and pop a cheap stamp on there, I would appreciate it, because it would be fun just to see where we get them from, but also for my own personal collection of postcards, from one collector to another. Send me a postcard. All right, well, that's a bit. If you have contest entries, if you have Stump the Rios questions, if you have a Geek of the Day, send them to comicgeekspeak@gmail.com.
Join the forum.
Check
out what we got going on there. We got some neat links on there.
Yeah, it's all on our blog, comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.